So you plugged your info into 3 different how much home can I afford calculators and have gotten 3 totally different answers and you are confused. Meanwhile, every headline says Seattle is one of the most expensive housing markets in the country. Now, if you get this wrong here in Seattle and the Eastside areas, you don't just overpay, you crush your lifestyle with the payment that owns you. Here, I'm going to walk you through how to figure out what you really can afford in 2026 in a way that fits the market and your life, bringing them together. Hey, it's Ravi Ramachandran with the Rams Group. My wife, Sijy, and I help buyers, sellers, and especially relocating families make smart moves in the Seattle and Eastside areas. If you are moving here for work or you already live here, but you're scared of taking on too big a payment, this video is for you. I am going to give you a 3-step way to think about your budget so that you can buy confidently without blowing up your finances. First, let's get real about Seattle's cost of living. That'll set the platform. Now, the overall cost in and around Seattle is 45 to 60% higher than the national average. Let that sink in. And housing is more than double the US price average. Now, I do not intend to paint a gloomy picture, but that's something for you to be aware of. Now, reports show that median priced homes in the metro require incomes of over $200,000 per annum to keep housing near that 30% income guideline. That's why simply asking how much will the bank lend me is a dangerous question here. It doesn't factor in your real world Seattle expenses. Something for you to be aware of. Then let's use the 28-36 rule as a guardrail. And basically we're going to talk about how to use it in Seattle. First off, what's the 28-36 rule? The 28-36 mortgage rule is a guideline for affordability. Simple. Your total monthly housing costs, mortgage, taxes, insurance shouldn't exceed 28% of your gross monthly income. Okay? All your other debts like housing, car loans, credit cards, student loans, etc. shouldn't exceed the 36% of that same income. So 28-36. That's what it is. Now, in a high-cost city like Seattle, a lot of people are above that, but it's still a solid guardrail, if you will. Now, I want you to remember 3 questions before we go further to ask yourself. Question number 1 would be, how much can I spend on housing and still live my actual life here? Travel, kids, eating out, saving, etc. And the second question would be, how much total debt do I already have, and how will this mortgage change all of that? And question number 3, which is the most important of all, how stable is my income, or will it be over the next 3 to 5 years in this job and the city? Those should help set the solid foundation. Then you need to build a Seattle-specific monthly budget as well, instead of just starting at a purchase price. Now, housing for most families here is just one big slice of a very expensive pie. High childcare costs, groceries, transportation, and everything else add up. So first, start with your take-home pay, and then subtract the non-negotiables. A few of them would be childcare or school costs, commuting, parking, and transportation. Third would be minimum debt payments. Could be credit cards or other debt payments that you have. The fourth is realistic food, utilities, and other living costs in the city. Now, whatever is left is the range of your monthly housing payment, where your life still feels like your life. That number, not the lender's max, is your true affordability ceiling. Then I would say translate payment to the price range that you're looking for. Once you know your monthly number, you can back into a price range, right? Reverse engineering, if you will. With the current interest rates hovering around the low 6s, every $100,000 in price roughly adds several $100s to your monthly payment, depending on taxes and insurance. Now, the data shows that median home prices in Seattle are around the high 700s to the low 800s, and the east side core areas like Bellevue or Kirkland often are running significantly higher. Now, that means many buyers end up targeting slightly more affordable areas, say North Seattle, Bothell, Shoreline, and parts of Issaquah and Sammamish even, where the monthly number actually works for them. Once you come up with your budget and know your affordability, you'll have to map your true budget to the right neighborhoods. Now, roughly speaking, guides show central Seattle neighborhoods running in the rough 750 to 1.2 million range, and major east side hubs, it's around 1 million to 1.5 plus million range. And more affordable suburbs are in the mid 500s to mid 700s. So if your budget maxes out, say around $700,000, you're probably looking at condos and townhomes in closer in areas or detached homes in more outlying suburbs. Now, if you're in the 1.2 plus million zone, your options can open up in more central parts of the East Side and top tier school areas as well. Now the key is aligning your expectations and search area with the math, not the other way around. So with several things that I provided for you to think about, let's quickly recap so that it sticks. Now I want you to remember or recall these 5 things that we discussed. Number 1 is Seattle and the East Side are high cost markets with housing more than 100% above the national average. This is so that you cannot rely on generic affordability rules over here, specific. Next, we looked at the 2836 rule as a guardrail, and that should help you to aim to keep housing near or under 28% of your gross income and total debts under 36%, especially in an expensive city like Seattle and Eastside. Then number 3 we looked at was to build a real Seattle budget that includes childcare, commuting, food, and utilities, and let that tell you what your true monthly housing number would be. Then after that, we looked at number 4, which was to translate that monthly number into a price range using the current 2026 rate expectations and local price bands even, not just what your lender says that you can borrow. As we discussed, it's not fun to get into a home and be house poor, right? Then number 5, we looked at matching your budget to realistic neighborhoods like Central Seattle, Eastside cores, or more affordable suburbs so that your lifestyle fits your home, not just your mortgage. And so what is your call to action, right? If you're trying to figure out how much home you can really afford in the Seattle or the East Side in 2026, suggest not doing this random online calculator thingy. You can start there, but don't have it as the final. And if you have further questions, call, text, or direct message me or get into my calendar, and we'll build a custom Seattle East Side affordability plan for you. And that'll be around your income, debts, lifestyle, and target neighborhoods so that you just go in more informed and win big. If you want more straight talk videos on the Seattle housing market, cost of living, and smart buying strategies, make sure you subscribe so that you don't miss the next one. I'll see you.